Hey everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing some of Caedrel's support gameplay from the NNO Cup. For those of you who don't know, Caedrel has recently created a pro team with ex-pros and streamers on his team, and he's been playing support in the meanwhile while they wait for their main support player of Reckless. I wanted to do this because I thought it would be a lot of fun. I think we can get a lot of good insight into how we can play good League of Legends through watching Caedrel maybe struggle a little bit with support gameplay, but also how to approach amateur and competitive play too, in terms of how you're going to coordinate with others and communicate. So I know this isn't his main role. I've reviewed the best supports in the world in the past and been quite critical of them at times in their gameplay, so there's going to be a lot of feedback for Caedrel here. But hey, he's put these games out publicly, so I am going to review them. Alright, let's kick it off with this Nautilus game here. And this is an incredibly good lane matchup for Ashe. Ashe Nautilus into Varus Rakan. So Nautilus has a lot of early strength and he's going to beat Rakan. The thing about Rakan is that he is great at minimizing engager matchups, but he's not going to have a lot of control over the bushes, over the pace of the game, any kill threat or anything like that. And the thing about Ashe is that she has some of the best extended all-ins out of all ADCs in the game early on. So what I would love to see from the Ashe Nautilus perspective is to really embrace how much threat and how much strength we have early on to potentially stack waves, to create an early dive, to zone from XP, to take trades and really push for that extended all-in which we would come out ahead in. And even if we don't end up stacking, you know, a 3-wave dive, we can set up the wave exactly how we like it, and we have all the agency here. It is up to us to create something. Okay, so in terms of starting Trinket versus Sweeper, I much prefer Sweeper in solo queue. I think in a more competitive environment, getting information and tracking the enemy jungler is going to just mean more to the overall game plan, so that's totally fine. Not going to stress about that too much. What I am not a fan of, though, is being so late to lane, is that we don't even end up controlling the mid bush and dictating the pace of the lane from the first wave. So what's going to happen here is
I can ward his blue if you want.
He's saying that he could ward the enemy blue buff, and then I don't really think this provides much at all. Like, if you have information on the chickens, that's going to be a lot of useful information, right? You don't need to ward both sides of the jungle. You can make some inferences. If he shows up on Raptors after red, or if he doesn't, then you kind of have an idea of his path anyway. And again, I'm just going to bring it back to how dominant of a 2v2 matchup this is. Look how late we are going to be to the first wave now. And this is going to underline a lot of the issues that I have with Caedrel support gameplay, is that he's just playing it as though he is completely useless, basically just a ward bot and engage bot. He's fine with dying. He's not going to be embracing his champion's identity and strengths.
Just hit the wave.
So yeah, just like off the bat, this is an awkward start, right? Because we want to be able to be in the mid bush before the first waves arrive, and then we can go from there. We can make it harder for them to hit the minions. We can stack a big wave. We can threaten to kind of move around and jump on the enemies with our Q if we're going to take that. But here we kind of have to make our way into the mid bush first, which is pretty valuable time that is just kind of going down the drain. And this is not how we're going to contest level 2. You're not going to be just out in the open hitting melee minions, right? Of course you're going to get harassed down by the enemy ADC. This is why controlling the mid bush is so important, so that the enemy ADC is less inclined to be able to, you know, order our ranged minions, and you can threaten wrapping around. But also what you can do is you can sit in the mid bush, and then you can find an auto on the nearest melee and then dip back into fog, right? You can time this when the enemy ADC is going for an auto attack on minions themselves, so they can't just harass you down for free.
Contest a bit.
Yeah, I should have W, you're right.
It's okay. We have push. We can.
Okay, so this is to be expected in a more competitive setting where people are going to be playing very safe. And so how we should approach this situation now is that they're not going to contest for the level 2 shove, so we can really stack a big wave here and zone and deny minions in the meanwhile. So what I would not want to see is my ADC hitting this minion, right? We are under no pressure to suddenly shove the second wave, right? They're playing very far back. They're probably going to concede the level 2. They're not going to let us use our level 2 spike. So let's stack a big wave. Let's deny some minions meanwhile, right? Let's camp our Ashe over here. Let us camp over here. Let's really put a lot of pressure and try to get a big 3 stacked wave so that we have a lot of time, right? Then maybe we can let our ADC find a cheetah recall. Maybe if our Wukong is going to be clearing down, maybe we can coordinate an invade, or if we get any information on the enemy jungle being topside, maybe we can look for a 3-wave dive. But what's going to be happening here with just like heading the second wave a lot and finding a 2-wave crash is that a lot of our options for really snowballing the early game is going to be lost.
He's losing creeps. On this one you can fish.
Jarvan on the Raptors. Make a
Anyone
perfect
that-
timer to go
So yeah, overshoving.
I will take Q value.
Yeah, you can just crash through the right. Yeah.
We're crashing second, but we're...
And so this is a problem that I have with Los Ratones playing a lane like this. Like, if you don't know your strengths, and probably a lot of it is going to come down to Caedrel not knowing his champions, not knowing their identity, trying to play way too many different champions and not being good at any one specific champion. He either needed to really hone in on like 2 or 3 champions and play them, try to play them at like a 7 or an 8 out of 10, instead of playing, 10 to 15 different champions at a 4 out of 10 level. Or he needs to play champions that scale better, right? Like Rakan or Braum or some more enchanters, or actually review and figure out how to play these champions well. Because the way that this lane is going is we're just losing so much of our strength with these champions. Sure, we have bot prior, but we're not going to use that to meaningfully develop anything in the early game.
Yeah.
I think not.
Just have to take this.
I'm going deep.
And so this is already coming to fruition, right? Like if we stacked a wave, we crashed a giant stacked wave on this timer, then we can link up with our jungler. The enemy bot lane is going to be stuck under tower dealing with a huge wave. We crashed a 2-stack wave. All of those minions have already died under tower, so now the enemy bot lane is a lot more freed up to kind of shift up, and we're in an awkward spot where we don't have a lot of prio with which to move to our jungle if he wants to do something.
I'm giving a bit.
He's gonna move.
This movement here tells me that he's very inexperienced with support. It is your job to just get to the action as quickly as possible. It's not your job to be goalkeeper to the Rakan. Use your prio, get to the fight, use your first move.
Use might.
Rakan bot. Rakan moving now. Rakan moving. Varus moving.
Yeah, Varus is moving. Can you play a bit slow here?
I can.
Galio kinda low.
Bot wave is good.
So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a team-wide issue, but Caedrel is definitely playing a hand into it. So Caedrel's job here is to move first and to kind of assess what is happening, right? He should be clicking forwards. He should be F-keying onto the jungler to see what's happening, right? Is there a big fight to the death happening on wolves here? Is the fight exiting this way? Is the fight exiting this way as we're looking at the minimap here? And then you can kind of use that to inform your movements, right? Because the way that we're pathing, look at where we end up. Our pathing here is pretending as though the fight is going to be moving towards the blue buff area, right? It's exiting the other way. So we should be kind of moving in this direction over here so that we can either escort our Wukong out or provide to the mid-jungle 2v2 that might erupt around this pocket here instead. The play is never to try and catch the Rakan. The Rakan is not just going to randomly walk in and face check and be out of position. So we should have been here well in advance, and then we should be pouncing on the skirmish opportunity. Just flash hook, auto ignite someone, dump all of your resources, give your teammates a lot of space and pressure to work with on this window. But we were slow, we took the wrong path, we hesitated, and this window is going to kind of collapse. Okay, so on the back end here, Caedrel is going to make an awful call. I will be trying to talk about comms because that's going to kind of differentiate this between a normal solo queue review and a more competitive review.
Blue if he goes for it though.
We are never messing with the Jarvan on his blue buff here, right? Our jungler just died. We need to figure out what we're going to be doing with bot wave.
Just going bot.
He's on his grump right now.
Awful call.
Okay, Varus lost a lot here, yeah.
And this is the thing that is just going to be happening with Los Ratones, is that Caedrel clutters the comms a lot. He provides a lot of useless information, and I have nothing but admiration for his teammates who can still play a decent game while the comms are just being filled with nonsense, to put it bluntly.
Galio will base the play.
Sums check.
Otherwise, this is going to kind of split up in 2 directions, a solo queue direction and a competitive direction. I think right now, what we should be looking to do is our Wukong is going to be clearing up, and he's going to be active in top river in the somewhat near future, and we would probably want to contest for grubs, right? So we want to figure out how we can get a good roam timer on the grubs. We can do this, right? We are Ashe and Nautilus versus Varus and Rakan. As long as we respect this immediate window, where the enemy Jarvan could look to do something here. Eventually, let's stack a wave, crash that wave, and then shift up and secure grubs for our team if that's what we want to do. If it's more of a solo queue environment, what we would look to do is just organize a wave state that allows us to make progress 2v2, right? Like, get this wave to crash into the enemy tower, let it push back into us, and then we have some space and some room to use Ashe's extended all-in threat. Either way, we need to have a plan, and we need to think about what we're going to do, because it's on us to do that, right? We are playing Ashe and Nautilus. We have control over the lane, over the wave state, so let's do something.
Flashed. I'm pretty sure
I
Rakan
think so
flashed.
too.
Okay.
I think so too.
Let's hard push this, girl. We feel good for grabs.
Jarvan heals a lot on the camp, but he heals a lot.
We should be careful.
Galio is pretty tanky now. I wonder.
Completely useless comms. This is what I'm talking about. I think he mentioned how much Jarvan is going to heal from the camps. Like, who cares, right? This is not going to be useful information. It's going to be preventing other people from thinking about their lane or providing useful, actionable information for others to have. I'm just going to give a little bit of an anecdote here. So I did play in Worlds in 2018 for Oceania, and we had a pretty crisp communication system back then. There was no clutter. Whatever was said was meaningful and useful, and it just allowed us a lot of freedom to play the game. And then, unfortunately, our jungler got a competitive ruling and he had to sit out, and so we get a substitute jungler, and he was very nervous, and he was just over-speaking, just basically narrating everything that's happening the entire time. It was incredibly hard to play with, so I have a lot of sympathy for his teammates, but I'll move on from that point.
Can we check it? I have one in 8.
He's running topside. This is the water right now.
Jarvan probably the base right now. Or he's using Bloodgang.
Isn't? Where?
But I don't think so. I think
Take
he's
a
the base.
mid push. Galio has blue.
I want to base protect the boots. You're probably the same. I'm Mega has
All day no flash.
Oh, what's up, Galio?
Yeah.
We take these two waves and I get the boots and then we go grabs, yeah? Right, let me push grab.
Yeah, let me look at it.
Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at this window here. They have mid prior, their jungle could be on bot side, and so it's okay that we're not hard shoving this wave. Like I said, we need to wait for the right time so that we are able to crash a wave and then meet our jungler when our jungler is active on top river. But here our ADC just panic flashes, right? There is no need to flash this. We have vision in the river. The Ashe is not going to get one shot, and if the enemy team is kind of nearby, then afterwards we can invest our Ashe flash to flash away from a Galio taunt or a Jarvan combo. But there is no way she's going to get chain CC'd and died here, and this is just probably going to be, you know, either a mistake or just being nervous in a more high-stakes situation.
Mid bot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jarvan's Jarvan here.
Jarvan ran out bot from
Galio
base.
here.
I'm
I use my
recalling
flash,
and
but I'm
TPing
not
back.
Okay.
Just ask for the okay.
Rakan has no
Yeah,
flash, by the
no.
way. We can fuck him up.
Jarvan is still bot, so take care mid
Yeah.
gank as
I
well.
thought he was closer, that's why I flashed.
I'm getting kind of cooked mid lane. So
Okay,
I'm
we
looking
can
good
open mid
for
soon and
grab
help you.
Mm,
This guy thing.
Galio has perm push mid. He'll be able to move.
Okay, so some good things from Caedrel
I
here.
think we
I
might
just
have
need
to
to
play
get a
for Drake,
reset.
guys.
He's saying that we should play for Drake. This is because he feels like he probably can't find that crash into base to eventually meet up with our jungler for grubs, which I think is a pretty reasonable call from the state of things here. That's totally fine. And then he also looks for a trade onto Varus, which is
Stay
awesome.
on this freeze then.
It's a really good window from Caedrel
This
here.
guy thing.
Galio has perm push mid. He'll be able to move.
I want to talk about Nautilus's basic combo here. So he's messing up just the super basic combo. I like how he's not just kind of in the middle of the lane passively the whole time. He's on the side and then he's looking to find a hook after executing a minion for a bit of a surprise factor. Awesome. But what you should do, you should hook, you should auto, and then use your W to reset your auto attack to get another auto off, and then E on the back end. So he's going to miss an auto here, which is you know, definitely relevant, but not the end of the world. And then he just randomly ignites. So this is where I want to talk about the two-step process. The two-step process is a process that I talk about where if you can't 100 to 0 someone, you can still do something. And the first step is to just kind of use your cooldowns and chunk them out, right? So hook in, do the basic Nautilus combo, get our damage out, and then back off. And then the second step, when our hook is back up, then we're going to commit to the kill here. We are never going to 100 to 0 a Varus who has full HP when his Rakan is nearby, right? Rakan is great at disengaging. He was full health. We haven't made any progress. Maybe if we had a more successful first couple waves and we forced a hook and we softened him up initially, But just back off here, hold your ignite. As soon as we use ignite, now our kill threat is significantly reduced in the 2v2 for the near future.
I'm winning bots too.
Otherwise, that was a great decision by Caedrel. If you can engage on the Varus, fantastic. If we use our cooldowns on the Rakan and then we can't, really threaten to kill the Rakan, then they're going to have a lot of freedom on the back end, and that's something that we're going to see soon here. So here we're going to hook onto the Rakan. Our Ashe is nowhere to be seen, right? She is very far back. So even if our Ashe was closer, this might be a little bit scary because now Rakan has the option to just jump onto our ADC and put a lot of pressure on her and all in her. And this is going to come down to a bit of the engager versus engager matchup. This becomes a little bit more of a Wild West showdown where you don't want to use your cooldowns on the enemy engager very often unless they are really out of position. You're comfortable engaging on the enemy ADC and you're comfortable punishing the enemy support for using their cooldowns, right? And that's what the Rakan is going to do here. So
you guys don't
we engage on the Rakan. It's very scary for the Ashe to try and follow up now, right? Because it was a bad engage and then Rakan can just kind of kill the Ashe. So now we're just left stranded. We have nothing left. And then we're just going to kind of end up in a pretty tricky spot. Now, this isn't the end of the world. It was a bad play, but we can still salvage it. And this is where I want to bring it back to, Ashe, Nautilus, and lane, right? And especially the Ashe. We win an extended all-in fight to the death. I think we have to just commit here onto the Varus and try to trade 1-for-1. He did a great juke of the Rakan W, which is going to give us a little bit more freedom, a little bit more agency on this window. So spam ping, or you're on comms, say all in the Varus, flash on the Varus, order the Varus, allow Ashe to just do her thing and find that extended all-in, right? And then the Varus is eventually going to have to flash away and Ashe can flash onto him as well. And then what's probably going to happen is we die, the Varus dies, and then we're in a pretty decent spot, right? That's what just kind of needs to happen here. But we're flashing away, we're not using our Ashe extended all-in at all. We're not getting any of our CC or our damage onto the Varus before we die, and then it's just going to kind of fizzle. So we're playing so scared, and we're playing some of the strongest bot lane champions in the game early on, which is a shame.
No ignite Rakan, no flash Varus.
And of course, if we had ignite for that window, then it is extremely likely that it's a favorable outcome.
So Galio could either reset here and then he hovers with ult, or maybe he roams. Top fighting. No flash Cassandra.
I don't know why Caedrel only does one Spider-Man hook to the wall. He should be recentering the camera on his champion wherever his hook is coming up and hooking to the next nearby wall.
Yeah, he will ult, he will ult.
Okay, I might be dead then.
So we're going to be leaving the 2v2 bot lane now, and I just want to summarize. We have basically had very poor wave management. We never stacked waves to do anything, right? We never stacked waves to invade or to dive or to find a cheater recall timer or anything. We basically just had permanent one stacked waves stuck outside the enemy tower with no freedom to do anything, and that just allowed the enemy bot lane to kind of scale up for free, and it doesn't allow us any room to fight, which Ashe and Nautilus really want. So the 2v2 blueprint, we weren't able to use our champion's strengths. We weren't managing waves at all. The execution was pretty awful as well, messing up Nautilus's basic combo, the whole fight in the jungle when we pathed the wrong way and didn't do anything in the fight. So let's see if we can bring it back in this kind of like mid-game section after laning phase. We're going to be pathing towards the action. Fantastic decision by Caedrel. There's not much else that he could be doing right now, and so as a support, you do want to be bloodthirsty. You do want to be pathing towards skirmishes and action, and you're pressuring teammates.
After mid wave, then?
I think I base goes up, no? And we go
Got
bot
one.
fast.
He jumped. He jumped.
Maybe kill him.
Great use of information denial. So he's going to be standing over here. He's not going to be showing over here. He's going to be using Hex Flash creatively. So this is fantastic by him.
But I'm moving.
And then he's going to not hard commit because they're playing around the Galio ult. Fantastic decision. Now we're going to start to get into the not so fantastic decisions. So let's just play it out first.
He's recalling, he won't be there.
They're long playing, like I cannot flash. Cannot flash. Try to wait for me. Look where I am.
Only.
Look where I am. Look where I am.
Rakan no flash, Rakan no flash, Rakan no flash.
Cannot flash. I think kill Rakan or Jarvan. I'm
Need to
coming.
wait.
Maybe I'll die here, but they're going really deep.
I'm here to take.
Jarvan.
We can win this.
Maybe you can win that?
Okay,
I
we
don't
go,
know.
we go.
Yeah.
Don't really think they have anything.
I missed my
They're
Q.
all alive.
Okay, so let's go back without the comms now. We can't hook out like this. There's no reason that we should be putting our hook on cooldown on this window. Let us get some value out of this hook first, right? Like if we see Galio buffer his E forwards and channel his W, then we'll hook out. If we see a Jarvan EQ come out, then we can cancel Jarvan's EQ with our hook, or we can buffer our hook out somewhere on the CC, right? And that's the powerful thing about Nautilus's hook, is that you can buffer it through CC. So now we're putting our hook on a 6-second cooldown on an absolutely crucial window of the game, right? So now there's a skirmish here and we have no hook and we can't really provide to the skirmish as much as we really need to right now. Otherwise, it's really good that we're hooking in on the back end and then we're looking to spread our passive orders for the damage and then we're going to look to E and then job done, right? Stop running forwards. Stop. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we can't be just looking to trade orders in the midst of everyone when we have absolutely nothing to provide except naked auto attacks, right? We have no cooldowns here. We spread our passive on all of these champions. So just play on the fringes, right on the edge of the fight and wait for your cooldowns, wait for your teammates. This is another problem that Caedrel has with his support team fights. He is incredibly tunnel visioned and it feels like he's just happy to throw his body into the enemy team, die, and say, job done, that's what supports do, hopefully my team carries. Hell no, his teammates are not in position just yet. He can provide a lot more to the fight if he just chills for a few seconds and waits for his cooldowns, waits for his teammates, but then he just hangs around, walks in, dies, and now it's up to his teammates to just kind of carry on the back end. And this is a really crucial fight. Execution just goes such a long way. It can't be understated. If we played this skirmish well, we will win this as blue side, and then we will have a gold advantage. We will have tempo on the map. We can really start to snowball the game properly, but we end up losing that.
I mean, you guys want to take the Drake fight? Because they...
I need to get my 6. I would like just to farm to bot side. We play around the rolls. Galio and ult for next 2 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
Really good comms by Valia here. I agree. I think that Wukong is very ult reliant. His camps are coming off of cooldown. He really wants to put them on cooldown for efficiency's sake. And so now we're going to get into Caedrel's mid to late game macro on support, which is awful. Now, some of the main points that I tell all of my students in the mid to late game is pressure with pressuring teammates. So when our teammates are pressuring the map, then we're with them, right? Then we can create numbers advantage, we can control vision, we can get vision ourselves, we can look for picks, and to consider mid first, right? Just to understand how important mid priority is in the mid to late game. What we're going to see here is an gigantic failure on this part with pressuring without pressuring teammates. Caedrel's going to go on a lot of solo missions, end up inting, dying, not controlling the map at all, griefing his entire team.
On Drake fights hard. Can we cross map
I
top?
think Drake fight is
I don't
dope.
think a Drake fight is hard.
Can we
I
get a
wanna
trade?
fight it.
Yeah,
Can we
yeah,
look
but-
here? Someone?
So even just this window, it's not going to amount to that much, but our jungle is passively farming. We aren't going to be able to control the map. If we're going to like walk out onto the map and let's pretend we had wards right now, we wouldn't be able to get great vision coverage, right? Well, like maybe we could just get a ward over here and then we'd have to back off. We get no real deep, penetrating information into the enemy jungle on this window. It's not our turn to kind of collapse onto top because we really just need our jungle. It's as simple as that. So just chill out on this window, play for the mid wave with your Ashe. Your jungle is going to be active on the map very soon, and then we can start to look to actually do something. So we're quite late to this mid wave. Galio has quite a lot of access to it initially, and so then our wave is basically dead before we can actually get prio on it. Now, apart from how we're executing on the mid wave on this window, I do want to talk about lane assignments a bit. I don't think that we should be posted up in mid lane on this window unless this mid wave of prio is incredibly important for a neutral objective or something, right? Otherwise, let's just go bot. Let's fix the lane assignments. Let's get prio and pressure bot, stack a bot wave, and use that pressure to shift up and control bot river for the upcoming dragon fight, right? Otherwise, it's just very hard to prevent Galio from clearing minion waves pretty quickly, and we're not going to be able to stack any waves in the mid lane, but it's too short, so it's going to be very hard to control for a neutral objective if we're just kind of hanging around mid on this window. The later the game gets, and when the map opens up more, with side lane towers being down and more space being in side lanes and in the mid lane, then we can, you know, start to assign mid instead. But look at this. Look how deep we are. Like, what are we doing? Look at our jungle, still passively clearing. We could be punished at any moment, right? We have no information on the enemy team here. The ward that we just placed there could get punished. Very risky. He's not going to get punished on this window. If he keeps it up, he's going to get punished soon.
Mid.
Yeah, we need to pull the trigger first, okay? She has cleansed.
So again, the result of this is not going to be disastrous because I don't think the enemy is fully aware of where the Wukong actually is. And so it's going to work out here that they think that Caedrel knows what he's doing, that the Wukong is behind him and they get to control this.
Or I just take it.
But we'll just keep an eye on this as this game develops. These kind of solo missions and being on opposite sides of the map will just desync from our jungler. So I agree that we should look to fight this dragon, or it's definitely an argument to be made. Our Wukong is going to hit level 6, our Ashe and Nautilus are in a pretty good spot, and you know, it's playable, right? The enemy team probably would love this a lot, right? With Jarvan, Galio, Varus, and Rakan having a team fight. But if we control properly, we have an access point to this dragon, then, you know, we can look for an initial pick, right? We have a lot of pick with Nautilus and with Ashe and with Aurora. But if we're just going to allow the enemy team to walk into the river to control this, and then we're just going to handshake a 5v5, that's not going to be that good. And so that's why we need to just go through bot, stack a bot wave, crash bot, force the, you know, an enemy carry to be down there, and then control, shift that towards mid with just more standard lane assignments. But now it's going to be very hard to enter the river.
Jarvan is 6 and you're no flash, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
They're gonna go on crab here.
I push mid.
I think Ali ult is still down with the Drake.
Useless
1
comms.
minute my flash if we
He
can.
has
Can we just go through bot with Wukong Aurora on Varus flash?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
We have arrows.
Yeah, so we should be going through bot. We need to be going through bot, and Caedrel, you are in the wrong place. You need to be around bot to be able to go through bot. But running straight through river to try and get through to bot is not how we're going to do it, right? We have to be bot. We have to be already here, stacking, shoving, crashing, and then shifting with the rest of our team to create some vision advantage and then to look for picks from there. So now we are just so split. There is no access point for us to get into the river as a team and to look for a pick. And we're always going to be on the back foot and reactive here, right? Like either our teammates are out of position bot and Jarvan can collapse and kill on them, or we're out of position and we're just going to get collapsed on. But we really need to find a source of pressure and control and pick, right? Because that's what Nautilus thrives at. Nautilus does not thrive at reacting and playing 4v4 and 5v5 fights. He wants to use his early pressure. He wants to look for picks with his team. Okay, and so what happens here is Jarvan's just not out of position, right? We know his entire team is here. We don't have any pressure. Look at bot wave here, right? There's no pressure. No one is reacting to a wave under the tower. Our Ashe isn't here. Our Aurora isn't here. So even if this hook hits, we're going to have to be sprinting away. So very impatient. Poor macro. Obviously poor micro with missing the hook, but this is mainly a macro issue, and then we're just kind of forced to try and take a fight out of it. But the enemy team has perfect information on everything that is going on. We have no vision advantage, no numbers advantage. We have no source of pressure, no access to the river. So the whole window is just completely doomed. The last thing that I do want to talk about is just a little bit of like composition assessment. And I know that Caedrel is very good at this, maybe not in the moment when he's streaming and focusing on trying to play support. But it's important to understand what your champs want to do and what the enemy champs want to do, right? And I touched on the enemy champs being very good in even number fights with Jarvan, Galio, Varus, Rakan team fights, right? But what we thrive at is really having that pick, the Aurora, the Ashe, the Nautilus pick. Talking about that, thinking about how to set that up. We need a source of pressure. We need to decisively pull the trigger on someone somewhere before they can organize themselves in an even footing kind of like handshake team fight. The good thing is that the enemy team is very ulti reliant, right? So if they have put their ults on cooldowns, then we're going to be a lot stronger without our ults, right? With Nautilus and with Aurora and with Ashe, and just finding a more messy, chaotic fight. So that's something that we can be on the lookout for. If they do put a lot of their ults on cooldown, I don't think they did there. Especially Galio ult is a big one. Okay, so this is going to be the start of one of my many gripes with Caedrel's vision control and how he uses his vision resources. So The way that Coach Curtis talks about reviewing certain parts of the game is the micro and the macro framework. So I'm going to borrow this from him quickly. First, I want to talk about his micro decision of how he is controlling vision in this area, right? Is he placing his wards in the best location? He's placing them very close together. So this ward here, this is a pretty passive, pretty weak ward. I think like if we're going to be playing for mid prio, then we want our pinks in these mid lane bushes like this, and then we want our green wards a little bit deeper. So the placement, not the biggest fan of. Also, just a great habit for ward placement in general is don't just plop it in a bush. Try to place it on the edge of bushes. Think about where you want that vision to be the closest towards, right? Like if we are scared of people kind of walking in through here, why not just place it over here, right on the edge of this bush? Same thing for this ward here. Just kind of plopping it in the middle. Like, what are we looking for? What are we scared of? What if we put it on the edge over here or on the edge over here? Just a little point there, but now let's zoom out to the macro. And this is going to be the biggest problem. Like, what are we warding for here? Is this something that we want to be investing our wards towards? What about our jungler, right? Is he going to be clearing up towards the top side of the map and then looking to play for this? You know, should we save our vision resources for that moment? Should we fix our lane assignments, bring Aurora towards top? And then everything can kind of come together neatly. Wukong's going to be up here. When he is in river, then we can link up with him and try to aggressively find some vision control and sweep and deny, and then have our Aurora near that. And last point for this, don't place two wards so close next to each other, right? This is a complete waste of our vision resources. We're very limited, right? I don't want to see him just constantly spamming wards on the map without thought, close together, and then basing, and then never being on the map when he needs to be. And I see this a lot with Korean supports, actually. They have no idea how to optimize their vision resources, which is a shame. And then we're going to walk down towards bot here, place a ward in bot try. Meanwhile, we can just send Gragas towards bot if we're not going to be playing for bot and we're going to be conceding bot and playing for top side. We can invest our vision resources to actively achieve something on the top side. But now we have no wards, we're pressured to find a base. And I don't think these wards are going to be doing much if we're not going to be pathing towards and playing around this side of the map. If we are, right, let's say that we're going to be sacking the upcoming neutral objective on top side, then let's wait until our jungle is actively pressuring the map. Let's meet up with him, whether that's going to be over here, and then let's get a ward, you know, over here to catch the camp. Let's get a ward over here. Let's sweep all of this area out. Let's actually have a source of pressure and control with which to work from. But I agree with what is going to be happening here. Our Wukong should be clearing towards top to put his camps on cooldown. We should be looking to meet him there and then pressuring at the same time with him and using our vision resources.
We can look, yeah.
We cannot look.
Okay.
Our jungle
No chest.
is not
It's okay.
active on the map.
Rush now, maybe?
Take one at least, yeah.
Take one.
And this is extra important in competitive play when it is less likely that people are going to be randomly out of position. It is going to be more a game of chess with when each jungler is going to be pressuring the map.
They're not going for me anymore, they're going for you guys.
Okay, so this window here is, we're still just waiting until our jungler is going to be pressuring the map so they can help us out. We're just kind of stranded 2v2 here. And there's going to be a call to kind of fight on the Varus. Now we know that the enemy is active around the middle of the map here, right? They have numbers, they have 3 people around the area. Our jungle is pretty far away. Our mid laner is very far away. Our top laner is pretty far away. So, like, if we try to make a pick on Varus now, like, his team is going to respond first, right? Like, this shouldn't be a surprise. And I don't think we can get the one shot. So I think that this just isn't the right time to pull the trigger. Now, what ends up happening is that the enemy team misplayed really hard here. The Varus flashes forwards, which he definitely shouldn't do, and that gives the collapsing team from Lost Rotonas the opportunity to just kind of kill him and salvage a pretty awful initial engage.
Oh, we killed Varus. Not bad.
Instead of saying we killed Varus, not bad, everyone can see that doesn't provide any value. We should be communicating about what's happening in the fight. Should we keep going? Should we back off? We should be thinking about what's next. Should we shove bot? Should we reset our temper for grubs? Things like that instead.
Hit bot plates.
Yeah.
Was that Galio TP as well?
Yes,
Or was
that
it
was
those
Galio TP
TP, right?
only.
That's good.
So decent result, bad decision. Now we're going to be starting to back off on this window. I don't mind it too much, as long as we're making the read that the enemy team is going to be sacking the bottom side of the map. And so we're deciding, actually, you know what? Let me try and defend top side on this window instead. If you think that there's going to be some kind of contest, you know, maybe someone is going to be coming out of base, maybe Varus is going to be coming out of base, and we can kind of 3-man catch him on this wave over here. That could be an opportunity to look for. It's one or the other, right? Either take the bottom side of the map as hard as possible, or read that the enemy is going to concede the bottom side and then defend top as hard as possible. This is why there's just nothing to achieve by piling out onto the middle of the map here. There is nothing to do mid, right? Our wave is dead. The enemy wave has crashed. They're not doing anything with it. We're going to be way too slow to be getting anything done around here. We already missed that opportunity by pressing base. So our only option here really is just to defend top side as much as possible. Beeline it there. Spider-Man hook against walls and terrain. Get there as fast as possible. There is nothing else for us to do here. And there is the Varus that is, you know, quite predictably going to be looking for that wave, right? It was a very high likelihood of success if we deployed towards bot side here, because as soon as we see the Cassante actually, as soon as we see Cassante shifting to top here, now the only play for Varus is if he's going to collect any minions anywhere, is going to be to bot, right? So either Varus is going to be ultra disciplined on this window, just kind of sit in this bush and just watch plates and minions die, or he's going to try and contest it by himself. So I'm on this window, I'm a bigger fan of just making sure that we get bot plates and we snowball bottom side of the map and we potentially kill the Varus because he has to try and greed on this window. But just as a concept, right, when your teammates are actively pressuring the map, you want to pressure with them. I don't care if we're really low. I don't care if we don't have wards. I don't care if we have a lot of gold. Supports have the most freedom of all roles in deciding when they can pressure. So when your teammates are actively pressuring, then you really want to be there with them because they're going to be pressuring less often than you can pressure. So right now, our mid and our jungle is actively pressuring, and this is just a concept you should take into your solo queue games. If your teammates are pressuring, try to be there with them. Don't think about your resources too much. But yeah, we do neither, right? We don't play for bot, we don't defend top. We're providing nothing to the map state on this window. Another crucial map state is just going to come and go, and we're not going to do anything for it. We're just hoping that we're getting carried at this point. So our mid jungle get to dive the Varus for free. He just ran straight under tower with no flash and died. So cool, I guess. This is where the boss is going to make his pretty epic escape. This shouldn't have been needed. We should have defended top as soon as we came out of base.
The one hit, look at the edge because actually no.
Given that we didn't impact top or bot, the next best thing is just going to be to hit mid for some plays. So that's fine as a plan C, I guess.
Our tempo is also dog shit, maybe.
But their tempo is just as bad.
Back to our use of vision resources. So I'm a little bit worried about initially looking to control past the river because we just made a play on bot, right? So that means that the enemy team knows we're bot. Our tempo is awful on the bottom side. They're going to get to control the top river first. So anything more than this pink is just too much, in my opinion. This ward is going to be hard to defend. It's not going to be up when our jungle is going to be active on the map at a useful time. This ward's going to get cleared quite easily. And also, it's just a pretty bad ward. Like, if we have the confidence to ward around this area, just try to be unpredictable, right? Like, everyone is going to put a sweeper or a pink over here and clear this, right? Like, why not be a little bit unpredictable, right? Why not put it on this green flower or slightly blue flower over here to dodge a pink on the edge of this bush? Why not put it on this patch of green grass over here to see the raptors and dodge a pink on this bush?
Listen, just play it fast. Like, I have push, mid push, like, at least
I
take
have
control.
TP and Galio doesn't. I'm going bot first.
Yes,
Okay,
we
so
should really
stop.
get this
We
out.
have TP advantage on.
So now I just want to see one window of this game where we are just coordinated with our jungle, right? We're not going to be overplaying our hand on the map too much on this window. We're just going to be playing to either generate or neutralize mid prior ourselves. When our jungle is active, then we can start to really pressure the map.
I
We
don't
just
have
run
ult now.
out of stall.
Yeah, I'm fine.
But guys, look at
Sure.
boss, there's no
At least we didn't overcommit on that window. Baus is definitely inting. We can use his pressure on this window to at least one-shot mid-wave.
From them. It's okay.
Oh, my bad.
It
I'm
doesn't
just
matter,
cleaning up
doesn't
the
matter.
bot, guys.
Fine, you want to contest Drake or not?
Yes. I'm just clearing top bot here. I'm getting really strong.
Okay, but
I'm
very-
ahead of Jarvan.
Careful.
Okay.
Cook him a bit there.
So this was always going to be a risky decision if we have no info on the enemy jungle. Either find better wards, right? Find a better time to actually ward on camps to better track the enemy jungle, or wait until he shows actively somewhere, or wait until our jungle is actually pressuring the map so that we can have confidence to make a play like this.
With around mid.
No, wait.
Guys, we need to play with Velja. He's the only one who's like kind of strong this game because they're all.
We do need to play with Valia. The boss is right. It's not about the Wukong being strong or anything. It's just about playing with your jungle and being able to control the map and achieve number advantage fights.
I don't know. If Galio should spot, I could TP, but
They started the grubs now, but
So this is pretty brutal for the state of the game because our jungle wants to be active on the map at some stage, but now we've just died and we've conceded control around the middle and the top of the map. And so now we're just kind of forced to full clear down to the bottom side of the map now and not contest Herald, which is, it's not the end of the world, but I think it would have been nice to have some control, have mid-prior there, link up with our jungle, look for a few picks because we can still do that. The game is starting to fall more and more out of our control, but our champs still have their strengths. We can still look for picks. We can still contest 2v2 mid-prior. I'm getting kind of sick of seeing Caedrel just go on solo missions here. This is genuinely awful from him. Look at his jungle. He is so close. Just wait. Just press S on your keyboard for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or wait until the next mid-wave when your Ashe is coming out onto the map. Then get some mid-prior with Ashe, shift into the river with your jungle, then you can actually play the game. So unfortunately, he just really has no idea how to play support. Now, in terms of what's going to actually happen, is the enemy team overcommits here, right? What the enemy team should do right now is just take the free chunk and the free flash on the Nautilus and the TP from the Aurora. Such an amazing outcome for the red team. But then Jarvan just kind of full sends it with his ult as well, and now the Jarvan's in a horrible spot, and then the result is going to be okay for us, but definitely not orchestrated.
Do Drake. Yeah.
Can we look on the
Flash,
barrels,
no
maybe?
flash Varus
Yeah,
though,
no
right?
flash
Or?
Varus, no flash Varus, no
I'm
flash
doing the
Varus.
Drake. I'm doing the Drake.
Great comms, no flash Varus because he entered on that earlier mid-wave, so absolutely punishing the ADC with the immobile ADC with no flash. Great. Probably don't KS that, there's no way he's ever surviving that.
nice farm. And Drake.
I'm on invader bot side.
Yeah, with
Should be free.
Caedrel maybe.
No, it's free. It's free. The blue is up.
Okay.
I don't care about.
So now we're going to be thrust into a similar situation than we left off of last time. But this time, 2 of the enemies are dead, so it is very unlikely that they can do anything about our bot side control. So here I think the best play is actually just to immediately base protect top side. Because what's going to happen is that they cannot stop our Wukong from taking this side of the map, right? He's going to get the camps, they're going to concede it. Our mid laner here is going to get bot waves, they're going to concede it. So I think the only play that the enemy team has here is to try and play for topside control, potentially dive the bells, potentially play for Herald, and we can kind of disrupt that whole flow. So really good base from us here. Now just pass towards top. Again, I don't think there's going to be too much to be done to pathing straight towards mid. I think we can relieve a little bit of pressure on the top side. Of course, numbers are showing top. Where else are they going to be?
Hit mid if they're 3 top, no?
Yeah.
And then maybe some comms here to help the Baus understand the state of the map on this window would have been useful, and that we're, if he plays it a little bit slower and we're going to protect him on the crashing wave under tower, that would have been good. Is what it is.
We're doing it.
Can
Can
I?
you get the top
I
and
can farm a
overload?
bit, right? I can.
Yes.
Okay, so that was a successful window. Now we're going right back into waiting until our jungle is going to be pressuring the map, so just chill. Don't be too aggressive with our vision resources, don't look for plays without him. Try to be a little bit more defensive. It is not our turn to make a play here. Pretty awful vision control as well. Yeah, I mean, I think the high stakes situation is just getting to the enemy team as well. They're making some questionable decisions. Maybe, again, they think that Wukong might be behind us. That's why we're making this type of play, but definitely Galio didn't need to ult out there. So just contest for mid-prior, wait until our jungle's on the map. Going to move forwards a little bit here. We're sweeping on the side of the map here. Where we want to invest our vision control is going to be mainly around the middle of the map so that we can safely move from mid to a side after we generate mid bio. 2 wards right next to each other. 3 wards right next to each other. This is hard to watch. But that pink should not be in the tri-bush. As soon as anyone walks in the tri-bush, it's going to get cleared, right? We're not going to be making use of this vision control right now. It's not like our Wukong is here with us, and we're 3-manning on the stacking wave to get the tower. So this is just like the Korean support League of Legends. Just dump all of your wards randomly, and then go base, and then dump all of your wards randomly, and then sacrifice yourself, and it's just not good League of Legends. Okay, here is our jungle. He's ready to pressure the map. Guess what? We have no sweepers, we have no pinks, we have no wards.
We kill him?
So what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay, there are 3 men mid.
Give this next wave, guys. I really want to fight, Loki.
Can I look
Okay.
something?
We have Gragas,
Yeah,
I really want to fight.
we have arrows as well.
TP, Galio has TP.
Okay.
I like the comms here. We can look for a fight. I think that this team is going to rely a lot on just brute forcing fights and outplaying them in the team fight because they have no macro and they have no
Play
setup.
one time for Sam's only. Can we do that?
I can move.
I like those comms. Really nice from Crowny. Okay, so again, our hook is going to be down on an extremely critical part of the game. Just like that top river skirmish when we hooked out to a wall. Now this is going to be on an even longer cooldown because we didn't even get the cooldown refund from hitting terrain. The Jarvan is just not out of position. Look at the minimap, right? Our Gragas is not here yet. Our Wukong is not here yet. We miss anyway. Even if it hits, I'm not convinced it's going to be a good outcome.
Take the Herald, If I was fine.
Herald.
We're just kind of like disrupting the Herald on this window is totally fine with me. But we missed the hook. And we're clumping with our teammates. So what you want to do against Jarvan, especially when you're near immobile carries, like don't stand on top of them, right? Don't give the Jarvan like a juicy 2 or 3 man ult like this. But the good news is that the enemy team is forcing really close to our tower, right? So it's very easy for our carries to kind of get out, and we're not really that out of position. So I don't mind looking for a fight here. It's just our positioning was a little bit awkward, but we're going to be executing as a team pretty good on the back end here. A lot of space, a lot of freedom.
Really low. My Q is about
I
to
think
be
that's
hit.
enough, that's enough. I don't mind that.
No, we play with them.
I'm basing though, I'm mega low. We can get bot push.
I use my flash too, though, okay? But it's the same.
Yeah.
It means whoever...
Yeah, I don't mind those comms actually.
Yeah.
Pretty informative, pretty actionable.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Just play Drake.
Going top.
I'm getting strong, by the way, okay? I'm not dying and I'm farming well, so as long as
Yeah, timing the enemy ADC flash, fantastic as well.
Yeah, we can play to Aurora side for a little bit, I think.
Yes, but guys, did Varus cleanse? He flashed for sure, but I think he just
I
dies
didn't see
on Midwave
cleanse.
on my arrow. Like, he just
Yeah,
died.
I think he dies, yeah.
He really
I
just
don't know
died.
if he-
Gali ult is down. I'm gonna have my ult before Gali ult, so if we can force on that, okay? With my
I
ult,
really
we can
think we
force.
should, with my ult and your ult, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, me by the way.
Galio
crazy?
has
But they're
TP.
alone.
We
Be
kill
careful,
much.
Shadow.
We
Be
can't be
careful,
there.
be careful.
Yeah, it's just not the window right now. They get the mid wave. Our jungle is not active on the map. It's going to be our turn soon. We see the enemy jungle. Fantastic.
Ulted, I just die. Like,
I do think it's free to just take this, isn't it? If we have Auroras, fucking OP.
I don't want to give them mountain drakes though, but
Yeah, you're right.
Like we do want to figure out what we're going to be playing towards, right? It's probably going to be away from Gragas and towards Aurora. So either we're playing towards bottom side of the map and we're sending Aurora bot and Gragas top, or vice versa and we're playing for top side. Just make a decision. I don't care which one they make at this stage. I just want to see some coordinated gameplay for once.
Flash, I have demolition flash. I'll just go crazy between.
he has no flash. Okay,
Gali top, I think Jarvan maybe. Jarvan is win.
just flash. Oh,
Okay, so we just need to relax a little bit here. Making a play like this around the middle of the map, if we don't have enough information, is just incredibly risky, right? It's the middle of the map, so that means that people are always going to be somewhat nearby it. They can collapse. You can't stack mid waves to get a more comfortable dive window. A jungle is not here once again. If we're going to hook out to this wall instead, but I think Caedrel realizes that he's just inting a little bit here. It's just patience. Like, look at our jungle. Like, he was on the map now, and then there's nothing for him to do, and we're dead. So, this is what you can definitely take to your own games. You, like, in the mid to late game, you really want to be paying a lot more attention to your jungler. When they can pressure, achieve something. When they can't pressure, don't throw away the whole game out of impatience.
Top wave. Yeah, we TP. Doesn't matter. Just take the crab and stall them.
We didn't
Don't
want
try.
Interesting emote.
They will hurt. They have Java ult. I can't step into river. Yeah, they're TPing. I'm okay.
Oh my god.
I don't want to repeat myself for the 10th time, but we're not with our jungle. Pressure with your jungle, don't go on solo missions. If your jungle is on the crab right now, just chill. If we don't have any sources of pressure, right, if they're not responding to top wave, if we don't have bot prior, then it's not our turn, just chill, just don't do anything. So sometimes you don't have the pressure set up for you to go control vision, that's fine. Wait until you have that opportunity.
Looking at Jarvan, Galio, Jarvan's looking.
Don't worry. I'm so fed.
Okay, so we're going to end up in a position where we can just hopefully like hands diff the enemy in a fight around the middle of the map.
Galio, Jarvan's looking.
Don't worry.
I can connect and stop him.
Back off. I have.
Okay, nothing ends up happening, that's fine. Top is struggling a little bit. Now the really good thing about this window is that we have mid-tower advantage and ours is still up, so the game is very playable still. If we can get mid-prio and shift that towards the side of the map, then we can actually control the pace of the game still. Okay, so we're going to be warding topside on this window. We knew that the enemy had numbers bot side, so we are safe to do this, so we can get some pretty deep wards. I actually don't mind this too much, not as much as the other windows, because we got some deep wards, and our Aurora is actively pressuring top, so having vision around that area is going to be quite useful on this window, even if our jungle isn't with us and unable to use that information himself. And then our ward ends up spotting the Jarvan and the Rakan, so great. That's why we want to look for deep wards, right? Instead of just clumping wards around the side of the map or too shallow.
Legit. He has.
Okay, so what we should look to do here is shove mid. Actually shove mid.
They're looking.
Push the Galio back, get a deep mid ward. The ward in the mid lane is the most important ward that you can get in the mid to late game. So just concede the top side of the map on this window. There is no way in hell that this Galio is allowed to just immediately catch this wave, right? We got great information that the enemy support and the enemy jungle is in the red side jungle on this window. So push the Galio back, force the Galio to collect this wave under tower, get a deep mid ward, say, you know what, Nemesis, just chill on this window. But now we have no mid prior because Galio just immediately one-shots the wave. We have no mid ward, so we don't know what they're doing around the middle of the map on this window. No one's out of position on the top side of the map.
Not bad, guys. I have flash in 20. Can we wait for that?
I'm 2k gold. Maybe I should.
Okay, then base.
We should be careful about over-investing our resources on the side of the map instead of the middle. There's going to be another mid-wave. Let's play for mid-wave prio again. And then when our jungle is pressuring, then we want to pressure. Bit of deja vu here. We've used all of our vision resources. Now our jungle is active on the map. And this poor jungle, man. I feel so bad for the Wukong here. Now is his turn, and his support is just in base because he's used all of his wards. He's misused his wards, and he is not valuing pressuring with his pressuring teammates over individual resources. So, really sad. But on this window, we could have fought for that mid-wave of prio instead of just conceding it, right? We could have grouped up, we could have forced some cooldowns here, we could have controlled vision, found some picks, linked up with our Aurora, really pressure the map on this window. Instead, another portion of this game where just nothing happens when something kind of needed to happen with our jungle. Maybe we can still find something on mid-wave here. I think we can protect our vision a little bit more here. We have the safety of mid-tower. Our Aurora is running out of base here. We can just kind of like non-committally poke around. I think we should throw an Ash Ult at someone. And that does eventually happen. So that's good, actually.
I ult.
Good play. Good ults.
Q him now. Try to one-shot him. One-shot.
One
Good chain CC. Good comms from the teammates.
Varus, no flash.
No flash. Galio first.
Slowly, front line.
Galio no ult.
I hook in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so just a really good window. Good punish from us. I think the enemy team went way too hard here when we have our mid-tower still up and we have collapsing teammates. Misthook is fine. I think the Varus cleansed as the Aurora ult slow there, so that's totally fine. Okay, so what I would want to do now is just think about what's next, right? we have, even though our jungle died and their support died, we have control of the map on this window. Like we can shove mid and then recall, we can shove mid and then send Aurora top and shove top and get some wards to set up for Baron. That's how we're going to invest our wards on the back end. Like if we're playing for Baron control, get mid ward and then don't get this ward in this bush over here. That's too close to the ward over here. Try to get deeper vision, right? Like maybe we can find the bush here, or we can find the entrance here, or we can find the Raptors wall or something, but definitely don't invest our wards on the side, on the bot side of the map on this window. We don't want our vision resources towards the weak side of the map.
I have ult in 60. I think maybe we need to wait for ults, so maybe 2 waves.
Yes, yes, on ults, yes. They are already running out of damage, guys. They have no damage in fights. Legit none.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, we have 2 waves.
Yeah, I like those comms as well. I think emphasizing that Varus is their only source of damage and looking to kill him, and then you have the DPS win con in a fight.
This is illegal.
Makes sense.
Jarvan's not here. This is illegal.
Looking to flash hook the Varus here, like if we're going to be Aurora TPing and then just kind of one-shotting the Varus, I think that's fine. Again, our jungle is really far away,
Tipping behind.
Coming.
but if it hits, then
Baron is there.
it could definitely work.
Send the TP, send the TP.
Get out.
He's
Oh,
not
no,
sleeping.
It's Galio TP. It's Galio TP.
No flash, no flash.
Beautiful hook and then immediate disengage and not greeting for the autos on the back end here. But what is going to happen is that we just decide to run straight into the Galio W here. I don't know what's going on. Just exit here, right? You're going to get out of the Galio W. But we, for some reason, decide that we just really want to get hooked. And so we're just going to die. You never know how that could impact the outcome of a fight, right? Like if we stay alive to get another hook off onto the Varus, and maybe we can kill him and kind of snowball the fight from there. But at least our carries have a lot of safety and agency to fight front to back so close to our mid outer. Then Caedrel realizes again that he kind of messed up. But his engages are just quite forced and quite tunnel visioned, I think. He needs to really keep an eye on where his teammates are on the map to time things better and really ask himself if enemies are actually out of position or not. Doesn't matter if you can hit them with a hook, if you're just going to die afterwards or no one can follow up. But that was a fine decision. Okay, so this is going to be the last window that we look at.
This guy.
Yeah, no flash. I think
I'll
we
sweep it
started,
up.
guys. I think we started.
It's
I'm gonna
pink
take
city.
midway and we can look.
After mid, yeah. Guys, we just need to coordinate our rules, okay? Because we're just like, if we just talk.
So I think the call here is that we don't want the enemy team to get the Mountain Dragon for free, so we're going to be pressuring Baron, right? The thing is that we are quite far behind now, and if the enemy team isn't committing onto Dragon, then of course we're not just going to try and brute force Baron. That doesn't really make too much sense. The game is still completely winnable if we take appropriate fights and maintain our mid-tower advantage.
This is bad, no?
But we fight, we don't.
I agree with Nemesis. So miraculously, we actually forced the Cassante TP. I don't think he needed to do that so quickly, but
Jarvan. No,
we'll take that.
I will arrow, okay?
Midway, 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 midway.
Ult, 10 seconds ult.
Okay.
Not good, I
arrow,
think.
not good
Not
arrow,
good,
back
not
off.
good.
Not good arrow, back off.
They're gonna get
Maybe
it.
you're cooked. I think you're okay though.
We could W in Varus right now.
They have
Fresh,
Varus
yeah.
ult? They have
Yeah, there's just not much more to achieve here. Like, there is a gigantic stacked bot wave that we're going to be missing out on this window. I think that we should be catching that wave. I think that we can just kind of like wave clear mid with 3 people to prevent them from taking mid. And like, we don't really have to match the ARAM here if there's nothing to come from it. Unless we're just going to be sending it on the Varus and forcing his flash and maybe getting a kill because we have the safety of our mid tower, right? But one of those two things. Either go on the Varus or just prevent them from taking our mid tower and fix our side waves. Not the end of the world though.
I really think he's doing it, guys.
Do they have a
Yeah,
ping for the
me too.
pit? Do they not have a ping for the pit?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We took the crab. Yeah,
And again, just like brute forcing Baron when we know that the entire enemy team is nearby and the enemy team knows that we are in the vicinity and that we're hitting Baron. So I really don't understand this. We're feeling like tremendously pressured
Yeah, he's
Varus
all
is
like,
not here. Varus is not
to
here.
do this.
We really need to do it, guys. I will E, okay? We need to do it. And
I will
fight.
stall Galio and ult Jarvan.
Gragas ult him or something.
I will grab ult him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're just not in a position to do this, right? Because the enemy team is so nearby, they can mess with us, they can delay, they can stall, they can slow chase, they can ace us on the back end at, you know, worst case outcome for them. We don't have damage to just kind of one-shot the Baron.
We have to try and finish this. I don't know. We have to try and finish
Very
this.
brute force. This just feels like a soft FF, honestly. So, like, if we want to punish them from taking the dragon, then we'll look to shove mid and top waves and get a lot of vision control over here. Or we'll look to turn off of the Baron and force a 5v4 while we have numbers advantage, right? But we're not just going to stand here and brute force the Baron until the end and hope for the best, because that was never really going to work out. But I think this was more of a team-wide decision, so whatever. And the game is going to basically be over from conceding dragon, conceding the Baron 50-50 and losing, and then dying on the back end. That's just too much, right? Our last bastion of hope of actually having a source of pressure in this game was maintaining our mid-tower advantage and then kind of hands diffing them in a fight around the middle of the map where we have safety, or finding a window to get mid-prior, link up with jungle and find some picks with vision advantage. So this video didn't really have too much purpose. I just thought it would be fun. I hope that you picked up on some concepts and learned something at least. But just to summarize for some takeaway points that could potentially help you guys, is to really try to assess the 2v2 lane and come up with a blueprint about what you should do and what you're strong at and what they're strong at. We really should have had more of an advantage from the 2v2 lane in this game. Just support fundamentals, right? Pressure with your teammates. Don't go on solo missions. How we're using our vision resources. Think about what you're controlling for. Don't put wards too close to each other. Don't put them in predictable locations, and look to use your vision when you are with teammates, especially your jungle, so that you can get better, more valuable information from them. Otherwise, ask yourself if the enemy is actually out of position or not. Doesn't matter if you can engage on them if no one can follow up. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting if you enjoyed the video. For world-class support, coaching, content, and community, go to wtl.lol/cupcake.